Well, good morning. This is Mr. Kretzos, or I guess depending on what time you're watching this, good afternoon or good evening. This is, I guess, the open house, or at least the best we can do in a remote setting. So I'm here to just explain to you a little bit about the AP Chemistry course we're doing online. Um, so I'd like to start by just showing you my website because this is where a lot of the information you need is housed, and I have it all basically cross-referenced into the Canvas. So from here, as a parent or as a student, you can access almost all the same information as you would from Canvas, except for maybe the grades. But for the most part, if you want to see what we're doing in class, um, I have here all the units, um, and we're currently in the second unit. And within our second unit of study, you can see all the links that are connected here. And so what I've been doing is, as we go, I've been converting a lot of the stuff we would normally do in class together into a remote version. So obviously this is a lab class and it's hard to do labs remotely. So we've been relying largely on videos of labs that show the same kinds of data collection and methods, and or when possible simulations that students can actually manipulate and treat as labs. So specifically, a few other things that you would find on our website. You'll find a calendar depending on which course you're looking at. And again, as a parent, this is useful because you can look day by day what we're doing and what the assignments are. So I know it's harder to get in through Canvas and see a lot of the details unless you've already signed up for the Canvas parent thing. But here you can see essentially the same stuff that I'm assigning the students. So they're looking at this calendar linked in Canvas. So for example, um, today's the 27th that I'm recording this. Obviously, we don't have school today, but you can see that on Monday, I'm talking about what we're going to do in class, what we're going to work on, and what the assignment will be. So you can keep track of where your students should be, um, even if you're not linked into the Canvas parent portal yet. Okay, so if we look at Canvas, just to kind of show you what I see and then what your student sees. But for the most part, this is the front page. And here is a bunch of links that are, again, also connected through my website. But the calendars, the course policies, the classroom expectations, a link to my web page, our digital lab notebook, which I created since we don't have a physical lab notebook that we can really use. I mean, we have it, but we can't really use it in class, so I've converted it to a digital format. And then here you can see, although it's kind of small, probably on your screen, my schedule as it is now. So in yellow, I blocked out kind of periods that I keep as standard office hours, but I've been also using this after classes study hall and Wednesdays when I'm free. So anytime students ask, they can meet with me through a Zoom link that is consistently the same. So this is basically our room that students come to in order to participate in class. Um, so like I said, those are the days that they can contact me or really meet with me or really any time as long as I'm free and they're willing to work. They're able to come and see me and get help. I'm also in the point on Wednesdays after school, so from basically 3 to 4 o'clock. So that's another time that I'm available. Again, it's just another online remote learning type of Zoom link type thing. But again, I have to say, considering how difficult this is for everybody, this year's class has been just extraordinary. They've been doing very well, and I'm really happy about that because the AP class, if we're going to get to an AP exam at the end that covers the whole curriculum, um, they've been just doing extraordinary work keeping up and trying to stay on top of this because we still have to cover the full curriculum and we only have about 1/3 as many minutes as we would normally have in person. So I'm just really impressed with how well they've been doing, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. Um, so the way I've organized it within Canvas is very similar to how I would do it on my website. Basically, we have modules that show kind of the sequential assignments and activities. So we're currently in Unit 2, and when I click on that, it'll show me my web page embedded within Canvas, just so students don't have to go out to another site. And then the activities and assignments and things of that nature that are coming through. So I typically spend most of our class time doing direct instruction and group work because we don't have a lot of time, as I'd said, to cover the entire curriculum. And I'm really depending on students through their homework and meeting with me outside to kind of really learn the material more deeply and to ask their questions. So again, based on the time limitations that we're facing, this is to me kind of the best case scenario that we can do. Um, you'll notice if we go back to the calendar that on the asynchronous days, as they're called on Wednesdays, most of the time students are either going to be doing some of the lab work, catching up on their assignments, or oftentimes we'll put assessments on that day. Just so, again, to save instructional time, I'd prefer that students do the testing on a day that we're not in class, just so that we don't have to take up the class time where it could be used for, kind of furthering the instruction. So that's generally how the class works. Just a few things in case you want to know about me. So I do give or send out a letter, although it's online now, that kind of gives you my background and an introductory letter, just so I can show you where that is. That's in this course policies link. Again, from my website, you can get to the same place. But it basically has an introductory letter, if you scroll down here, that gives you kind of my history here and in teaching and in the district. But just to give you a quick synopsis, I did actually go to Niles North, and many of my students are flabbergasted to find out that Mr. O'Brien, who just recently retired, was also my 7th grade social studies teacher. I went to McCracken, although it was Oakview then. So I graduated from Niles North in '98. I went to U of I and got my degree in education, and then I came back to Northeastern during my teaching career and got a master's degree in chemistry. I did teach at a few other schools. I started my career at Carmel High School, spent 5 years at Antioch, and then I've been at Niles North ever since. But that was always my intention. If you read my letter, you'll see I was inspired by my chemistry teacher, Mr. Cardula, and he's the one that really kind of got me into wanting to be a chemistry teacher, and I've never looked back ever since. Um, and then just a few things that I've done professionally along the way. So I was National Board Certified in 2009, won some teaching awards, and currently I'm a head coach of Science Olympiad and the Scholastic Bowl teams. So if your student's interested in that, please send them my way. Now, in the remote environment, even though philosophically I'm really into students doing science, this is obviously a lot more challenging. So right now, a lot of that doing is, as I said before, through videos and interactive simulations. Hopefully we get back to in-person instruction sooner than later so that we can actually get into the lab and really start to appreciate what we're learning on paper, as it were. So in the end, I'm hoping that students will take the AP exam and be successful. That's kind of one aspect of the course, but it's not the whole thing. In the long run, I'm just interested that they really get a feeling for chemistry and what it means and how it looks in the real world. So I'm hoping they'll learn something interesting and useful in this class, not just to serve as a test, but that is part of our priority because this is an AP course. So if nothing else, they will get a full-fledged one-year college chemistry experience in as much as remote learning can provide that. So I hope students gain knowledge in the subject area, obviously preparation for the exam, as I said, and the experience of a first-year course, but I'm hoping they'll have improved thinking, analytical, and problem-solving skills and see how it looks in the world around them, really appreciate what chemistry tells us about the world. So as far as contacting me, if you have questions or concerns, email is always best for me because this is kind of outdated. I believe this should say Canvas. But as far as contacting me, like I said, my best is email. I do have a school phone that will forward to me if you leave a message, and I do have my cell phone that you can use as well. Feel free to use any of these methods to contact me if you have any concerns or if you just want to talk about what's going on in the class. As far as what students should have, really everything is online at this point. So Mostly they just need a calculator and something to write on and with. I've asked them to keep a notebook of problem sets and notes and such. The textbook I have pretty much linked online, so they don't even have to physically carry it around, although I guess with remote learning that's not as big a deal. Probably the most important thing to have is this, a curious mind. The willingness to learn, which again, as I've said, so far this class has really been taking, I think, the learning seriously, and it's very refreshing. It's really nice that under these strange circumstances that they're still doing so well. Here's a little bit better zoomed in version of my schedule so you can see how it looks. Um, and as far as information about the AP exam, some exciting news for this year. Some changes that have happened. So yeah, the cost is still around $94. If you have kind of the free and reduced lunch waiver fee brings that down to $9 per exam. Currently our person in charge of the exams wants students to have decided by October 2nd for the initial run, because that's when they want to order the exams. Um, as far as the AP Chemistry exam, that will happen on May 7th, 2021. It is expected to be an in-person, full-fledged 3-hour exam. But here's the exciting news. So this past March, the Board of Education decided to help out with some of the costs of doing AP exams. So the free and reduced lunch will still have completely paid for, not even the $9 fee anymore. So this has been eliminated. But also for every student, the district is going to pay for one of the AP exams. So this should help defray the cost. So if you're going to take 3 or 4 AP exams, district picks up the cost for at least one for any student. So that's kind of nice to know. In any case, it's been already such a great pleasure working with your students, albeit remotely. If you have any questions or concerns, just please feel free to contact me. And one last thing about signing up for the AP exam, students should already have an AP Central account with the College Board, and they're able to basically just flip a switch on their account to say whether they're going to take the exam or not. Just to show you just really briefly what that looks like, when I go to my classes, let's see, not here. When I go to my classes, I can see who's signed up and who hasn't. So without looking at anything specific, here you can see that 6, 8, and 8 students have already decided for sure they're taking the exam. I would suggest signing up and getting it ordered, because if last year is a precedent, they do have time to cancel it later. So again, I'm not saying that, yes or no for sure, if you should take the exam, it's up to you as a student and as a family. But I just suggest that signing up for it now is probably the good move, and then if you want, you can cancel it later. All right, well, that's all for me. Hopefully that was somewhat informative. Sorry, we can't have a question and answer session in this format, but if you do have questions, please feel free to contact me whenever you need to. Thank you and have a good day.